Welcome to Give Me Hope with your host and author, Johanna Widhalm. Come join the conversation as Johanna focuses on sharing impactful personal narratives of loss. Her platform provides a safe space for individuals to express themselves, find comfort, and build connections as they navigate their grief journey. So now, please welcome the host of Give Me Hope, Johanna Widhalm.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Give Me Hope with Johanna. Today I have Debbie Widhalm in studio, and she's going to tell us an amazing story about her life and how it came about that she also became an author, and she's doing so well. Let's give her the opportunity to introduce herself. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you, Johanna. It's good to be here.
You're very welcome. Very nice to have you here with me today, and very nice to meet you after all this time, knowing you already.
Right. It is good to see you too, see your face.
Thank you. If you would like to introduce yourself to my guests and tell them a little bit more about yourself and how did you start? Just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go further from there.
Okay. My name is Debbie Widhalm, and I'm the author of No More Silence. I'll put it here. I wrote this. This is my memoir that starts pretty much at the age of 16. I was pregnant with a boy that I barely knew. Our parents decided that we should get married. This was in 1972. 73. And we got married. I was 5 months pregnant when we got married. Hid the pregnancy for as long until my mother just finally asked me. There was a lot of neither the guy and I wanted to get married. You know, we liked each other, but we weren't in love forever. And he was a bit of an alcoholic, and he began to slap me around. We lived way out in the country where there was no telephone, and my parents lived about 45 minutes away from us in another town. They lived in Oklahoma City, and I lived in Seminole, Oklahoma. So I was there by myself all the time, and it got to the point that he told his parents that he wanted to kill me, and they asked them to bring the guns. I had had my little boy. There were several times that God saved me and my little infant son when this guy pinned me down on a bed with his heavy sister on the other arm, trying to take my baby out of my arms because they thought I was a slut, a whore, and those are the names they called me, and said they wanted their mom to raise the baby so it would, turn out good. I was determined that I would never let them take my child. So the angels held them off of me. They held that baby in my arms. He was in this arm, and they had my arm back like this. Two people trying to pull a baby out of my arms 4 days after I had delivered, and they couldn't
Oh,
get
my
him.
word.
So you can only explain that as there was somebody else in that room that nobody could see holding that infant tight in my arms. God wanted him to stay with me. I
Mm.
became determined to be the best mother I could possibly be at the young age of 17 years old when I had him. And I went to nurse's aid school. I was a high school dropout, got my GED, went to nurse's aid, and I worked as a nurse's aide for 3 years as a missionary to God. I devoted my life to God, and all I did was pray. I would pray 2 hours every day in my closet and read the Bible. The Bible was my pillow. I could quote scriptures like you never heard.
Wow.
And that's how I lived my life for 5 years after divorcing this guy. They did bring guns that day, the last day, to try to take my baby, but God gave me enough wisdom to get out of that house quickly before he got back, and I hid a mile away in a shed with my child. I had phoned my father before I got into the shed and told him where I was at and that I needed help. He came 45 minutes later and rescued us and took us out to back to Oklahoma City, where we lived with them for the next 5 years. During the time that I was a nurse's aide, I worked at a hospital. It was my duty to put people on the bedpans, check their vital signs, just do the answer the call lights and stuff. And I took my duties very religiously. I was devoted to God. I told Jesus I wanted to be his wife. And, in the biblical way here,
I
that might
understand.
be kind of weird.
I understand.
And I just walked as a missionary. I prayed with my patients. I talked to them. That was my life. I was just a little young 17-year-old girl who was just completely devoted to God. I walked like this for 5 years, and then I became an LPN. Got a job in a burn center where I worked for 20 years and treated the people with burns. And uh, there's story after story in my life where God shows up in a miraculous way. My son was kidnapped at the age of 8 years old. Well, he was in the fourth grade, so he was about 11. And he was walking home from school one day, and again, angels were there. They had him in a car. They were trapped in traffic almost to the airport. And he prayed a little prayer and said, God, I know they're going to kill me if you don't get me out of here. Help me to escape. And he elbowed the guy in the belly, and the car door was open. So he ran as the traffic was stopped and stoplight and made a phone call and called us. Things like this, stories like this are all throughout my book and No More Silence.
Wow.
Things that could only be explained that, wow, God intervened here. And I've
Yes.
always had his hand upon my life in unseen ways. Every time, I turn around, there's another new story like this. I walked with him, as I was a nurse. I prayed with many people before they died. I've taken care of people that didn't look human anymore. It's a very horrible way to die. And but it was my calling. It was something that I took very seriously.
Especially
Um,
burn victims,
mhm.
they, I believe that when your body burn, that is the worst pain that you can ever experience.
It's horrific pain.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a very horrible way to die,
yes.
a very painful way to die.
But going back on your story now, you said that you were how old? 16, 17 when you got married?
I was
When you were
16
pregnant?
when I got pregnant,
Yes. And in
and
those
we,
days,
so I
yes.
was still 16 when well, no, I was 16. I turned 17 a couple of months later.
Yes, and what
So,
I wanted to say about that is in those days, um, it was just different, you have to take responsibility of your life and you have to just go with that flow, and you think that the person that you're now having this baby with is going to be a good husband and a good father, but sometimes we make these small mistakes in our lives and we only realize it later in our lives when we look back in life and see everything that has happened and how far you have come. And then
mhm,
you had to start your life off differently, not able to go to college now because you had a baby and you needed to start to take care of that baby.
right.
I can just see all of that, how it transpired, but
hmm
how far you have come now. So when did you decide to start to write books? Is this the only book you have?
Um, I I decide as I've continued on in my life, the stories, just keep building. I always knew after I had my son and I went through the early um tragedies and dramatic stories, I knew I was going to write a book someday. So I've known for 50 plus years that I was going to write a book. It was just a matter of timing. And last 2 years ago, I had a dream. I woke up and in the dream I was kneeling and I was praying to God. And there was a big archangel with the wings just spread over me, and he was pouring something over my head. And he said, "Go tell your story to the world."
Wow.
So when I woke up, got my computer and I started writing.
Wow.
And I wrote the story, my first book, which is the story of Tops, the Chinese goose. This is an actual goose that I observed in life at a pond in our neighborhood in Trophy Club, Texas. He was the most kind, compassionate animal. You would think he was human, and I believe he was an angel.
Wow.
He welcomed the Canadian geese in, and he was their air traffic controller. Everyone that watched him knew all these stories. He would guide them in. And so my husband and I would walk our dogs every day, and we decided, I would observe him, and the stories just started flowing. So I started typing it. And after I had been working on this story, and I wrote the lady, she was my publisher at the time, and I said, "Hey, I kind of woke up this morning typing the story of my life. Would you like to read it? I don't know whether you're interested or not." And I had written like 4 chapters. It just fell out of me. I mean, I
Wow.
couldn't type fast enough. It
Yeah.
was like
Oh, that's
it was just coming
amazing.
out.
Wow.
And I would send her a chapter. I sent her all of it, and she said, "Oh my God. Yes, keep working on this. This is wonderful. Oh my God, I can't believe this." So I kept sending it to her, and she said, "Okay, let's put this one aside and let's work on your memoir for now. This is
Yeah.
powerful." So
Wow.
that's when I decided, to get it done, and I finished it in January of 2025. So it's only been out a
Oh,
few
so it's
months.
still brand new. Just
hmm
getting back to your goose story, is that a children's book or is it
Well, it's called a children's book, but it's actually a book for all people. He teaches lessons of love, unconditional love. He's not a judgmental goose at all. He doesn't judge people because their skin is different. He doesn't judge them because they're from a different race. He welcomed the Canadians in and he was a Chinese goose. They
Mm.
had a different accent, just like you and I do this morning. And he welcomed them in as though they were his own flesh and blood. And Tops teaches people how to love without judgment.
Oh,
He
wow. That
teaches
sounds like
how to
such an
love without borders. And
wow.
he teaches us how to feel our feelings. He teaches us how to grieve because he has losses in his life. And he's lost his dear mate in this story, and he spends the winter grieving.
Oh.
And so this will be a series book. There's lots of
Mm.
stories that Tops is going to teach the world, but they're going to his main story is we are all the same. It
Wow.
doesn't matter what the skin looks like, what we're wrapped up in. It doesn't matter what our voice sounds like. It doesn't matter whether we all with he talked with this little Chinese Texas accent. His Canadian goose friends had a higher pitch to their quack.
Oh,
But he thought it was endearing, and he welcomed them into his group. And
wow.
he accepted all critters from all parts of the neighborhood. And he's a very, very brave goose that loves to teach lessons. So I think that Tops is going to be probably a very popular book. I think that
Wow.
he is going to be somebody that we see in everywhere. He is called a children's book, but it really is for all ages. There's one portion in there that the children would giggle about when he poops everywhere, but that's the only childlike place in it. It's a very
Mm.
heartwarming book that teaches us lessons that we're all the same. We all bleed the same blood. We all get hungry. We all want to be friends. We all want to feel love, and that we all matter.
Oh, that is so nice. And when did you publish this book?
Tops was published in May,
Of this year?
April of 2025.
Wow, but you've
Yes.
been busy, hey? That's amazing.
Yes, yes. Tops
Wow.
was published April of 25, and I'm not talked about Tops up until now. I've not, I have been sitting in my memoir because it was published first, but now this is the first time I'm talking publicly about Tops, and I'm excited about him. I'm
Yes,
excited
that
about both
sounds
of
like
them.
an amazing story because sometimes you also have to put yourself into someone else's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And like you've put yourself into the goose's shoes
Mm-hmm.
and looked at his story, and then
Mm-hmm.
eventually um, just looking and listening to what you've just told me, it's like it inspired you, and looked at your life.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Sometimes we need permission to feel our feelings. Sometimes we need permission to be told it's okay to cry. Sometimes we need someone else to say it's okay to feel that deep, deep feeling. And
Yeah.
Tops shows us how to do that
Wow. That,
because we can all get stuck in our grief. We can all get stuck in our losses.
oh,
And
believe me,
it's
I
very
know
easy.
that. I know about that, getting stuck in your grief and getting stuck in your
Hmm.
losses. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how well you know me, but losing my entire family that I grew up with as well was quite difficult to move on from there. I'm still young, very young,
Hmm.
um, born in
Right.
73. So that's when you got married and had your baby. So
That's right.
that is
Yeah,
52
you're the same
years.
age as my son.
That is 52 years this year.
It is. Happy
So
birthday.
yes, I definitely understand that. Have you lost many people in your life? Like, is your mom and dad still alive, or are they gone?
Since I wrote my book, since I have written my book,
Hmm.
um, part of what made me want to write the book also was that I was going through the darkest time of my life with losses. 2019, I lost my father to death. And we had been estranged from each other for 6 years prior to that because I had confronted him about sexual abuse. And I just finally said, that's part of why I call this No More Silence, because I finally got tired of holding in. He accused me of something that wasn't true, and it pushed a button in my heart, and I let him have it. And I told him everything he did, and he denied it. And this was in front of my mother. And so I was very mean to my father. I said every word I could think of saying bad words. I cussed. I said every bad word I could think of. I was a mean girl, but I got my truth out. I stopped protecting the person that hurt me. I stopped protecting someone who had sexually touched me in an inappropriate way. And when I did that, I found that I mattered now. That's when I started trying to believe that I was important in the world, because I lived my whole life for other people the whole time.
Did this
And
all happen when you were still younger, or
no,
after
this
you
happened when I
had your
was
child?
56 years old.
When you
It
was?
was in 2019. So this was well, whatever the math is on that was about how many years ago? 6 years ago,
6 years ago that he passed.
um, in 2019 when he passed, and I confronted him in 2013.
Okay.
So,
And he abused you when you were younger, when you were still in the
not when I
house?
was a young child, but when I was a 19-year-old woman, I was crying, and I was crying to him, and I was really sad, and he was just there listening. He must have got turned on somehow because he came and hugged me, and I was just what, and crying to my daddy, and all of a sudden he took my face and he planted the biggest, longest kiss on me and put his tongue down my throat. And when I realized what he was doing, I pushed him away. And I said, "Oh my God." And I ran out of the house screaming and crying.
Oh, wow.
And nothing was ever said after that. I was 18 years old, 19 years
Oh,
old at the time. So
so,
I held that secret for a long, long
um,
time. And I told myself that there was no need to stir the pot. There was no need to tell anyone about this. My God,
yes.
he didn't mean to do that to me,
But
surely.
if you didn't push him away, he would have maybe done something else because you allowed him to continue the kissing, for instance, you know. But the fact that you pushed him away, I think he felt so disgust with himself after that, hopefully.
Maybe. He never spoke of it after that, and neither did I
Wow.
until 2013 when he said something really mean to me and pushed a button in me that had been very buried for years and years. And I went off and
Mm.
I opened up Pandora's box and I said, "Mister, you do not get to say that kind of stuff to me. You can't talk to me that way, just like you can't ever stick your nasty tongue down my throat ever again. What
Wow.
are you talking about?" And I said, "You know exactly what I'm talking about. The night that you stuck your tongue down my throat and I pushed you away, you can't do that anymore, mister. You will never violate my mind, my soul, or my body ever again. I'm
You
free of
see, it
you."
shows you also how long it keeps us hiding ourselves from
Yes.
everything else because this has
Uh-huh.
been holding you and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to move forward or cannot move forward. But till you actually spoke to him about it and told
Yes.
him and put him on his place,
Yes.
you
I
then
took my
started to
power
look
back
at your
that day.
life and start to write books about it now and
That's
doing
right.
better and better.
That's right. I
Wow.
found my voice and I took my power back, and I've never been the same since. I
Yeah.
will never allow another human to violate me without me speaking up if they try. It's like any, any anything in life. If you're
Yeah.
gonna come against me, you're gonna have the little lion attack.
Yes.
I have a voice now, and I'm proud of my voice, and you cannot come against me because I have now found my voice, and there is no more silence.
Yes, wow.
I'm
It's
free.
just like me also, since I put my grief aside, you know, because for 27 years, from losing my dad, then my twin sister, then my mom, my big sister, my little sister, and then my brother, all from 97 till 2020. I've lost my
That's hard.
seven members, you know, and
Hmm.
since since 2020 and 2024, I was in a very, very deep grieving
Yes.
hole. And since I
Yes.
have also started to write my story,
Hmm.
first I just wanted to write a story about how I just miss my family and how can one live without them. I
Hmm.
then started to remember when I grew up, from the day that I could remember and
Hmm.
think about how tough life was sometimes, you know, and
Hmm.
how and it's not like how can God do this to me after I've been such a good child, always trying to be
Hmm.
fair and always trying to be honest and hardworking and things like that. And then he takes my whole family away. And I
Hmm.
needed to
That's
just
hard.
get stronger and stand back and look at all my blessings that He has blessed me with as well. And eventually started to get out of that depression mood. Write my
Hmm.
story, my book,
Hmm.
Life, Think Again, that you will see behind me right
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
I also won an International Impact Book Award for that, and that tells my complete life story and how my family members has died. And I moved to America to have a better life now, and my stress levels has gone down because I put God in my life completely, you know, and I believe 100% and not just 99.9% because sometimes we have to speak to Him and talk to him and ask him to
Right.
help us to heal. So yes, I
Right.
know exactly what you are saying when you saying about writing your story down sometimes, it
Hmm.
makes a big impact.
Well, when I confronted my father, like I said, I was a bad girl. I said everything I could think of to him. And he told, and then we were estranged for 6 years. And everybody in my family judged me for what I said to my father. No one judged him because no one believed he did it, because he denied it. So everyone in my family was mad at me and wouldn't speak to me. So when he died, before he died, 2 weeks before he died, he called me on his deathbed. And my sister was with him, and she asked him, she knew he was dying, and she said, "Would you like to talk to Debbie?" And he said, "Oh, yes, I would love to." So she called my number, and she said, "Daddy wants to talk to you, Debbie." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Hello." And he went, "Oh, my baby. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I love you so much. Please forgive me." I said, "Oh my God, Daddy, you're forgiven. I forgave you. I love you too." And in that moment, everything was forgiven. And we hugged each other over the phone. We kissed each other over the phone. We gave our hearts to each other. All was forgiven
You see,
because he
that is
asked me to
very
forgive
important.
me.
Yes, that is very important.
Mm-hmm.
When someone is doing something in your life that is
Mm-hmm.
hurtful and you feel that you don't want to have them in your life anymore, doesn't matter if it is a mother or a father or a brother
Mm-hmm.
or a sister, and or an ex-husband or someone like that, eventually one cannot move on and one cannot peel those peels off your eyes to
Yeah.
see what the future holds for you if you
Mm-hmm.
don't forgive the people in your life that has hurt you. You
Mm-hmm.
do not have to continue to be their friend or
Right.
to be in their lives or things
Right.
like that. But the fact that you truly, honestly, for yourself, know, I forgive you, I can just tell you, it makes an amazing difference in your life when you forgive someone and
Mm-hmm.
you know that you can move on freely with
It
your
was a
life.
beautiful phone call that I treasure. I'm
Wow.
very thankful that he called. He died 2 weeks later, and my family had already sat in judgment against me because of what I'd said to my dad, and they didn't believe that he had sexually abused me. So they left me out of everything. I was not, and they didn't have a funeral. They just buried him at a military grave. And I wanted I wanted to get together with my family and talk and do the normal things that you do and cry and giggle and laugh and remember. I had no one to do that with because my siblings had thrown me out and so had my mother. So it was very difficult. I did know when his service was going to be, and I went.
And what
There was
about your
just the few.
sister? What about your sister that called you that said, Daddy wants to talk to you? Because she would have then heard that he said, I am so sorry for everything I did. And that's
There was
not saying
there's
it in so many words, but he's confessing to you that he know what he did and he's sorry.
Yes.
So your family should, or your sisters should now realize that your dad is apologizing because he wants to make right before he must go to heaven or something.
Yes.
People
Yes.
normally try to say I'm sorry just before they have to close their eyes for the last time.
Hmm.
And yeah, wow.
My sister and I were very, very close during this time. And yes, she and I were talking over the telephone. But for some reason, she and my older brother who hated me and had always been accusing me of saying, I can't believe you said all those horrible things to our daddy, and I said, yeah, well, I can't believe he stuck his tongue down my throat either. And so she got to be friends with my older brother who hated me, and she couldn't stay friends with me. So when it was time to go to the service, she didn't have support for me. I missed her, and I was, it was just my husband and my daughter and I, and against the world. So I went to the funeral and I lost it. My mother was sitting with my brothers and my sister down at the family spot. My brother said, Debbie, do you want to sit with us? And I said, no, thank you. And I just felt like, I guess a panic attack came over me and I couldn't fake it anymore. I didn't care who was there looking and watching. I screamed out and I said, I can't take this fakery. This was my daddy. I was his firstborn child, and my grief matters. My tears matter just like yours do. He
Yeah.
was my father too, and you
Wow.
guys left me out of everything. And I screamed this out at the graveside.
See, and that's
Everybody's
also
going, oh
when,
my God,
wow, that is also
he's
when
crazy.
one can say that you are grieving the alive. My very, very first episode that I have recorded ever was grieving the dead while grieving the alive. And
Uh-huh.
it is like those words are saying is you can grieve people if they are still alive. And those people
That's right.
sometimes need to step back and look at how short life is and make right with those people because they're going to get to a time where they're going to feel neglected. And then think about how you are neglecting your loved ones now while you still have the time to actually make things right and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the time with them. I just don't understand sometimes how people are in this world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, when I began to speak up and out for myself and stand up for myself, I lost everybody in my world,
Oh,
including my sweet son. The
oh,
son that I had raised and protected and enjoyed life with, had a beautiful relationship with, helped him raise his four grandchildren for 6 years. I had a disagreement with his wife, and there was no conflict resolution to be made because nobody was willing to talk. And I had stood up for myself and said, you can't treat me this way anymore. You cannot disrespect me anymore. You cannot walk all over me anymore. And people were not used to Debbie saying those words. And
yeah.
when people started hearing Debbie say, you can't do that to me anymore, they left my life.
Wow.
So I have lost my mother, my two brothers, my sister, my son, my daughter-in-law, and my four grandchildren because I spoke up and out. And I haven't seen my son in 6 years now.
I am so sorry to hear that,
I
Debbie.
haven't heard a word from him. It's very
Well,
heartbreaking. Now when I say I published my book in 2025, one reason I've been so quiet is because I've been sitting on my patio grieving
oh, gee,
because we left where we lived in Texas to get away from all the triggers
yeah.
because I was crying constantly.
Oh,
I couldn't wake up without seeing a place where we'd been. Memories were everywhere. You can't grieve. It takes time to grieve one person, but like you put 10 people in there. How do maybe a
how,
year a
yes.
person,
How do you
so
continue with life?
yeah.
If those people that you thought were your pillars in life,
The
because
people
that's
you
who you
thought you would
lived
do
for,
forever
you live for your
with.
family.
Hmm.
Oh,
So now life is very different. But God is so good because God, I don't know how in the world, I never knew how I would ever live without my son or my grandkids. I love I'm a mother and a grandmother by nature. I love being a mother. That's where my favorite times of life was raising my kids and raising my grandkids. That was my best years. I love children. I love children. But God has sent me new people. He sent me Pakistani people who are my dearest best friends. I met them in Texas, and they have two boys who are the same age as my youngest grandchildren, and they have all adopted me, and we've adopted each other, and we're family. They
Yes.
have my best friend Sana. Her sister lives in Canada, and she has two little boys, and they call me grandma. So I
Oh,
have four little grandchildren that God has sent my way from Pakistan and Canada,
wow.
and a little boy from Saudi Arabia from across the road befriended me in the time of my darkest days. These were little bitty angels that God put in my life to remind me, you're not a bad person, Debbie. It's okay to stand up for yourself. You were a good grandma and you still are. That's why I'm giving you new people, a new tribe. My
Yes.
Sana is my best friend. Her family lives in Pakistan, who I haven't visited yet, but will someday. They love me. They've never met me, but they all talk about Debbie because I love their people.
Yeah,
So God
that's
has
so
sent
amazing.
people from other countries when my own family denied me. And I could not be happier. And somehow He has put a healing inside my soul so that I don't cry anymore. I will always miss my son. I will always miss my grandchildren. But I have learned how to live again in spite of my losses.
Yeah,
And that's a miracle.
that's an amazing story. Um, and if anybody out there is part of a family and you still have a mother, go reach out to them because I'm 52 years old. I've lost my entire family. And
Hmm.
I cannot go and say I'm sorry about anything or go give them a hug or let's just get everything out in the clear and live our life to the fullest. It's real, and people have no idea how the other person is struggling because
Hmm.
of all of those losses, and you've had
Right.
quite an tremendous loss as well, Debbie. I'm so sorry to hear about all of this, and I will pray that one of them will contact you or all of them will contact you and bring you back into their lives because life is short, and
Hmm.
sometimes we need that people in our lives, and love them. Let's get back to
We
your
get
book.
to we get to a point in life where when they do come back, they may not be able to stay because I'm not the same person. And I won't tolerate the same things. And I am strong today. And I will always love my son and grandchildren and daughter-in-law. I love them with all my heart. They're always welcome in my heart. But I'm not the same lady that I was then. I'm better and I have boundaries and I can say no now and
Yes.
be proud of myself. And
Wow.
that's the difference. So they have to be able to accept that. That
Yes. See, and
that's it.
also they might have grown as well and
Right. God's
seen
doing
their
a
own
work
mistakes
everywhere.
because I'm sure God is doing his work everywhere. And that's what
Yes.
I'm saying, is that
Yeah.
they might come back and you've changed, they changed, and maybe
Hmm.
life can be changed, but for
That's
the
my
better,
hope.
you know?
That's my
Yes,
hope.
yes. I think you said something that you do have a book trailer as well. Would you like me to show the viewers the book trailer?
Yes, please. Yes. Yeah,
Sure,
that
then
would be
let's.
wonderful. You did a great job on that, Johanna. I love it. You're very talented.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't going to mention that I made the book trailer for you, but
Well,
thank you for
you
honoring
did,
me.
and I probably will need you to, do something with tops too. Yeah.
Yes, we can definitely
Yeah.
do something, but
Yeah, we
let's
need to put him in there too.
Let's show the viewers quickly your
Okay.
video.
Debbie Widhalm is a keen observer of life and people. As an award-winning co-author, she contributed Chapter 2, titled, I Found My Voice, to the book, Courage Under Siege, Volume 7. Her memoir, No More Silence, published in January 2025, quickly became an Amazon bestseller and won an International Impact Book Award in early spring 2025. Debbie has also released the story of Tops, the Chinese Goose, a delightful children's book that teaches lessons of love, grief, and inclusion. Throughout her life, she has embraced people as they are, demonstrating a profound love that transcends race, religion, and color. Guided by empathy, she shares lessons about surviving adversity, overcoming challenges, and navigating themes of death, grief, and love. In these times of social and political unrest, her approach to teaching through empathy and a lack of judgment may be refreshing. Debbie shares many stories that touch on trauma, survival, fear, love, grief, power, and resilience. She encourages people to find their voice, especially those whose voices have been stifled by abuse, neglect, judgment, or misunderstanding. With extensive professional and personal experience dealing with grief, including her background as a former burn nurse, Debbie understands the pain of loss intimately. After losing several deeply loved family members simultaneously, she can relate to the challenges of navigating grief. Her writing takes readers on a vivid journey of not dwelling in defeat, but always seeking new ways to conquer and succeed. She offers hope and inspiration to help readers overcome their fears and thrive in life. If you enjoy stories about angels, she has plenty to share. You won't want to miss Debbie's books. Much of her life has been shaped by a pattern of attracting manipulators and abusers, leading her to seek love in unhealthy relationships. From an early age, her voice was suppressed, often resulting in labels like liar for simply expressing herself. The repercussions of revealing truths created a defensive mindset, which persisted for decades. However, the turning point for Debbie came when she began to engage in introspective recognizing this damaging cycle. While she understands that the origins of her struggles were not her fault, she realizes that the responsibility to change is now in her hands. Over the past 30 years, she has embarked on a challenging journey of striving to understand her emotions and examining triggers, anger, and vulnerability. With spiritual guidance, she has worked diligently to heal her psyche, which has often been invalidated by others. This transformative journey is chronicled in her memoir, No More Silence. The book not only recounts her experiences, but also offers insights into the complexities of emotional healing and recovery. Debbie's dedication culminated in her recognition as a finalist at the prestigious International Impact Book Awards Grand Gala in July 2025, an honor she deeply appreciates. This accolade acknowledges her narrative and the extensive work she has devoted to writing her memoir. She will be participating in a gathering of authors from diverse global backgrounds, some of whom have become significant connections in her journey. Stay tuned for updates as they celebrate their collective contributions and aspire to foster positive societal change. Discover how one woman's strength, courage, and determination helped her regain her voice. Thank you.
And that is her trailer that I made for her.
Very
I hope you
talented
liked
woman
it.
here.
It's really an amazing story. Do you know what captured me the most?
What's that?
It's the part where you were a burn nurse. That part captured me the most because, like I say, I know that when someone burns, it's the most horrendous pain. And for you to have been next to their side all the time, helping people like that,
Mm-hmm.
I take my hat off for nurses that does amazing jobs like that. And it's special people that can care for other people.
Thank you. I do
Mm.
share 4 or 5 stories in my book, about the burn experience with different patients. Um, so that is in the book, No More Silence.
Wow, wow. Well, sure. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Tell us about your award. I believe that you received an award for your book.
I did. There it is.
Oh,
I
I
guess
see it in the
it's
background.
back there, the International Impact Book Award.
Yes, and
Uh,
and this is how I know you from is from the International
we
Impact Book
both
Award,
have,
and it is so amazing that we have this small knitted family also, and since I've met you, I mean, like today is the first time I'm speaking live to you and see you in person.
mm-hmm,
I mean, we just speak on Facebook and all of that, and I see what people do and things like that. But it is amazing to start with this new little group, a new little family in the book industry. And just so that people know, I'm not just interviewing people who write books and things like that. I speak to anybody who has an inspirational story to tell. So if you
uh-huh.
have an inspirational story to tell, if anyone out there would like to come share this story with me on Give Me Hope with Johanna, please feel free to reach out to us because we want to get the word out there. And just like Debbie's story today, we hear how impactful it is to listen to other people's stories and how much that can actually help us to heal in our own way because we need other people in our life. And the more stories we hear, the more we look at our own lives and we realize that doesn't matter what happened in my life, and I'm talking about me specifically, losing my family. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter how much happened to me. I'm already inspired by so many people's stories that I have listened to that made me
It gives you
realize,
strength.
yes, that makes you realize that you have to appreciate what God has given to you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it is amazing, Debbie, to hear these stories. And
I've also been, you asked me to share a little bit about my award.
yes,
Um, I'm a finalist in the International Impact Book Awards, so I'll be going to Hollywood in October to receive, I guess, another award there.
yes.
And I'm also a sponsor there, so they'll be, highlighting my book and my website.
Wow, that's
Um,
amazing.
and then I've been in
I'll
several
also meet you there
magazines.
then.
You're going to be there too?
Yes, I am also going to be
Okay,
there because I'm also a
great.
finalist in my category. Um, there are quite a few different categories because we don't all
Mm-hmm.
write the same kind of stories and books and things like that. So I'm
Right.
also a finalist in my category, and I will definitely see you in Hollywood.
Absolutely. We'll
It's
have,
just
we will.
one more month, so we're almost
Yeah,
there, counting down the sleepies now, hey?
that's right.
Amazing,
Counting down the
amazing.
sleepies. I like that.
You see, it's because I'm thinking in my Afrikaans brain here.
Yeah, I love that. I've always wanted to go to Africa. When I was a young, well, after I got my divorce and when I was 19, I wanted to be a missionary and I wanted to go to Africa. Um, but I don't know. My heart is with everyone. I don't ever see anybody that I don't love. So,
Yes,
yeah.
Africa itself is a beautiful country, you know. I
Hmm.
was living right down at the bottom of South Africa, and so many people when we came to America, my daughter went to school, and they asked, "So, was there really lions and elephants walking around?" And she's like, "Yes, I went to school on the back of an elephant." And
Is that true?
she she actually made a picture. She put herself on the back of an elephant. She said she's going to show them the picture tomorrow at school. And she showed them the picture, and after they all said, "Oh, wow, it's such an amazing life." She started to laugh and said, if you are in South Africa, it is exactly the same as how it is here in Minneapolis. That's where I
Hmm.
live here in Minnesota.
Hmm.
Um, and we also have cities and
Yeah.
houses, and we've got big
Yeah.
walls, so the elephants can't get through the wall. But
Well,
it just shows you
when
how
my,
little people sometimes know about a different country, you know.
that's true.
They just assume when they say Africa that there are
Safari.
so many. Yes, we have
Hmm.
areas where there's safari and you can go see the elephants and the lions and everything like that. But that is what's amazing for me is different countries and different cultures and different languages and all these
Yeah.
different lives. I'm also a person who can get very quickly intrigued by someone else's culture. I just
Uh-huh.
love listening to other people.
When my son was 6 years old, we went to New York to visit some family, and he came in pouting, and we asked him what's wrong, and he said they think I live in a teepee because I'm from Oklahoma, and they asked if the cowboys and Indians were shooting arrows at us.
Oh,
He really was offended by it because up in New York, they said, well, you surely don't have cities like we do. You
yes.
know?
I always wanted to go to New York, and I was going to win a trip with the cosmetics that I did and the therapy that I did. I was working for a specific cosmetic house, and
Hmm.
I was going to win a trip in, I think it was about 2002. And then I got a divorce, and I moved away to Johannesburg because I was all the way down south in Port Elizabeth at the time. But then we moved up to Johannesburg side, and I forfeit that competition and always wanted to go to New York. Then we
Yeah.
moved here in 2016. Never in my wildest dreams think that I will now live in America, which means is New York is only a stone throw away. Hop on a plane and you're there in 1 or 2 hours, you know. In any case, and I've been to New York, been there, done that. No, thank you. There's too many people. Oh,
Uh-huh.
it's too
Yeah.
many people for me. My word, it's a busy place. But look, it's definitely some good memories and things that you make there. And I always
Hmm.
watch movies and things like that. But whew, no,
Yeah.
it's too
Yeah.
busy. It's too busy.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm looking forward to seeing you in California because it
Me
will also be
too.
my first time going that way. I've never been to California as well.
Hmm.
I still have a lot to see in America, and it's nice to live in such a big country because there are 50 states, 50 different places we can go visit one day when
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome to
I'm
come
big.
visit us in Oklahoma. We will show you a good time. You're
Yes,
welcome
I will
here.
keep you to that.
Okay. Yes.
Well, Debbie, oh, it was so amazing to speak to you. I can just continue and just speak to you all the
Hmm.
time. But
This was good. I
yes,
appreciate you taking time to talk to me. I really do.
you are very welcome. And it's always about just sharing our stories and
Hmm.
hearing what other people are going through and just listening to what you've been through already. gives me a little bit more of inspiration on top of all the inspiration that I've already received from all
Oh,
my other people that I've listened to.
thank you.
It is just amazing. And I'm
And
looking
and I
forward to meeting you in person.
Me too. Yes, I'm inspired by you also.
Thank you. It's
I
nice to know. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, Debbie, thank you so much for coming on to my show and sharing your story. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Well, that was Debbie Widhalm. And if you would like to read her story, I will put her links at the bottom of this video. So if you just go down into the links, you will be able to see her books and get to read her story. And if you want to be on my show, please contact me, and you can follow the Gmail address at the bottom of the show, and you can just email me and ask if you can be on my show, and we can definitely see to put you here. Well, if you also haven't read my stories, you're very welcome to go below Debbie's description of everything, and my book links will be right at the bottom there, where you can buy my book, Life Think Again, which tells the story of my entire family's loss. And then my second book, Navigating Through Losses and Grief, Think Again, helps you to navigate through all those different stages of grief that you're going through. And then my third book, which has just published about 2 months ago, Unseen Tears Beneath the Mask, tells the story of how much I have grown in my life and how I have realized that I was wearing a mask all these years. Taking the mask off and living my life to the fullest and making an impact in someone else's life now and helping them to see life in a different eye. Well, I am Johanna Widhalm. You have been watching Give Me Hope with Johanna. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Have a good day. Goodbye.
This has been Give Me Hope with your host, Johanna Widhalm. Join Johanna each week and harness the transformative power of storytelling to facilitate healing and growth.